Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another scene for Living World of Darkness, camera and adult venue. Tonight we start the scene with Arthur leaving Starbucks, and he's arranged to meet Jasmine a couple of blocks away from the hotel that he's booked for the evening in Manhattan. And he will stand and wait for her, and when she arrives, just to save time, they will walk to the hotel. He will collect collect the additional key and go up to the room where he's agreed to meet Selena and Lucy. The hotel's a very nice hotel. It's not like the best hotel in the world because he's not a rich man, but it's a nice hotel and slightly Art Deco, somewhere in the centre of Manhattan. And he goes up to the 5th floor and turns the key in the lock, knocking slightly as he walks in with Lucy. Not with Lucy, with Jasmine, sorry.
Selena would be lounging somewhere in the most comfortable seat in the hotel room, looking awfully relaxed and as fabulous as ever. And she would have just been chatting, making general small talk with Lucy while they waited for the gentleman and his lady friend.
You'll hear as the door turns, her gently teasing him. So you're inviting me up to your room? And she just seems to sounds generally amused by the situation.
And as far as Lucy is concerned, you'll find her standing at the window, looking out over the city, and of course answering Selena's every question as well as she can.
As they come into the room, Selena would look up and smile and say, Professor, good evening.
Good evening, my lady, he says, giving her a bow. As usual, he's wearing a particularly large sort of frock coat over his suit. And standing beside him is a beautiful blonde lady.
Professor, will you not introduce me?
Of course, I was just... this is your Primogen, Lady Selena Whitaker. Lady Selena, this is Jasmine.
Enchanted. Jasmine will curtsy in a slightly old-fashioned, old-school European way.
Selena's eyes would travel up and down Jasmine in a kind of appraising way, and she would smile politely. Why, hello, darling. What a pretty thing you are.
Thank you for welcoming me to the city.
Oh. How long have we been lucky enough to have you?
Not long. I arrived just as things got interesting, shall we say.
Yes, these are dark times. Tell me, darling, have you met the delightful Lucy?
Yes, I've had that pleasure.
And
of course,
would
smile.
Would beckon Lucy over.
She'll do so. Sit down. Starts kind of frolicking with her skirt at this point. Hey, Jasmine, how are you? Hey, Professor, right?
Smith. He says, smiling charmingly. He closes the door and sort of indicates with his hand for Jasmine to go ahead and go and find somewhere to sit.
Jasmine will sit down on the floor quite easily, as if she's used to sitting on the floor quite a lot. Then she realizes she's wearing a skirt and tries to smooth it out so it doesn't end up too rumpled. Probably not her usual attire.
The professor sort of stands there. He walks towards the three, noticing where they're sat. I mean, it's sort of a standard hotel room, so it does have seats, but not, it's not a meeting room. So there's not loads of seats. He just sort of stands there, and then rocks backwards and forwards on his heels very slightly awkwardly. And it just goes, apologies for the environment, ladies. There's very little option for safe meetings in these times.
Selena would smile mischievously at the professor and say, "Why, darling, don't tell me you've never been in a hotel room with 3 beautiful women before."
I would have to admit, I have rarely been in the company of 3 women of your caliber.
Well, that can always be remedied in the future.
He smiles, but he sort of looks slightly abashed.
It would be quite clear that Selena's just messing around and trying to make him a little uncomfortable. Or, well, testing testing his boundaries anyway, to see if he's uncomfortable.
He doesn't look exactly really uncomfortable, but he does sort of look sort of unused to it, perhaps. I confess that I have a ulterior motive in bringing you here, because unfortunately the climate does not permit for much tact in the ways of dealing with our usual business.
You should have said it was a business meeting. I'd have worn a suit.
You look delightful in what you're wearing, darling.
So kind.
So, Professor, exactly what is our reason for meeting here, other than to introduce me to the marvelous Jasmine?
Well, I believe that, at least I've heard that you are part of a coterie. And I wish to offer my services as potentially as a new member of your coterie. I think that normally I would take more time to elicit your support and trust in this matter, but it's important to the prince that we all, and to the city, that we all team up and protect each other, especially as in light of what happened last night.
I couldn't agree more, darling. In these nights, we should all band together and support one another. And Invictus is a wonderful opportunity for us all to do so. We would be delighted to have you join us. And then she'd look to Lucy and to Jasmine and say, all of you, in fact, would be incredibly welcome to join Invictus.
All of us? Like, maybe it's a silly question. I don't know really, my lady, but what does that, what does Invictus mean? What does it do?
Selena smiles warmly at Lucy and says, why, darling, that's my coterie. Invictus is an opportunity for us to come together and use primarily our influences in order to achieve the goals set for us by our prince.
That sounds very impressive. I really don't think I have anything to add. I'm not very I'm not someone who has a lot of like influence. I mean, I'm not a great and powerful person.
Oh, I beg to differ, Miss Smith.
Selena would lean forward and
Perfect.
kind of stroke Lucy's hair affectionately and say, "Not yet, darling, but I'm sure you will be. I have great faith in you."
Quite so. Your Primogen is right. You may be young, but I see potential in you.
Again, that would be the blush, but it's not happening, of course. Lucy looks around. She clearly doesn't know where to look at this point. This is a lot of praise for someone like her.
I was once shy and unsure of myself, like you are. It took time, but with the right guidance, he smiles in Selena's direction. We can all become productive members of this court.
I really do want to help, and if you say that this is the way to do it, then sure, I'll help out.
Selena nods. The prince has made it clear that he wishes us all to form coteries and support one another. And I can't imagine you being in any other coterie but my own, darling.
Thank you. That is extremely kind. Thank you very much.
Tell me, darling, have you met the sheriff? And she'd actually look at between the two of you and kind of ask the question to both of you.
Arthur's reached up and he seems to be fiddling with the on his lapel he has like it looks like a preserved rose. Looks like it's been artificially preserved in some way. You've seen it. He seems to wear it on all of his coats. He's fiddling with it lightly, almost sort of in a daydream, and then he just goes, "Yes, I've met the sheriff on my first night in the city."
Selena gets a kind of affectionate smile on her face and says, "A delightful chap, is he not, darling?"
He's a robust gentleman, yes.
I'm sorry, do forgive me. I seem to have had a little clan moment.
Yes, Miss Whitaker's beauty is rather distracting. I can understand why it would be a challenge in this environment.
Yes, I do apologise. I'm back with the moment now.
Your Primogen's been kind enough to extend an invitation to her coterie to all of us.
That is most incredibly kind of her. I must, however, gracefully decline, as I've already accepted a prior invitation.
Selena would raise an eyebrow and look unamused, but would then smile and bow her head. "As you wish, darling."
I will look forward to watching your progress and success.
Well, hopefully soon we can have a meeting and begin to map out our plans for the structure of the coterie and our next steps in regaining our power in Manhattan and surrounding areas.
I know that Sam has many plans to do just that.
My influence at the moment is limited due to my recent arrival. However, I've never had difficulty in gaining in certain circles, so it won't be long. He says almost arrogantly, which doesn't seem to. It seems to be a different side to him you haven't quite seen yet.
Then I will watch your career with interest.
Well, everyone who is part of Invictus can only achieve great things.
I envy your ambition. Myself, I take a humbler route.
One must always reach as high as one can, darling. How else are we to achieve our goals?
But the most prominent nails are the first hammered.
Selena just tilts her head to one side. Perhaps. I suppose we shall see, won't we?
Then I will watch all the moths gather at your candle.
Indeed.
Arthur smiles broadly at this sort of interchange. He seems to have missed conversation. I have some other talents that I can lend to your aid, Miss Whitaker and Miss Smith.
Oh, really, darling? Do tell me more.
He reaches into his pocket, inside his jacket. As he does so, you see, as he sort of parts his jacket, you see like the heavy silver revolver that you saw the previous night in the Elysium, the one that he brought out when the Elysium was attacked. That's not what he's reaching for. He's reaching for a piece of paper, a long piece of paper, which he takes out and places on the table, unrolls. It's just a drawing at this stage.
Selena would lean forward and take an obvious interest in seeing what was on the paper.
As for Lucy.
There are 2 drawings on the paper. There's no measurements or anything like that. It's literally just an artistic drawing of what he has in mind. One is a compact, fine-looking gun. It doesn't look anywhere as near as heavy or as cumbersome as the sheriff's gun or his own gun. It looks quite delicate. The other one is a stake, which has been fashioned to look sort of like a rose.
Selena's finger would trace over the designs on the papers as she's looking over them. And she'd say, "Why, darling, these are quite splendid."
Merely works in progress at this stage, but they can be... I have a skill for making very potent weapons.
Jasmine will shudder delicately and say, well, if you like that sort of thing, certainly. And I don't deny that they have a use, but really, most distasteful.
Selena would shoot her a bit of a venom-filled look and say, "But darling, surely you realize that in these times of war, one must perhaps do things that one wouldn't usually consider for the good of our prince and our city."
Of course, and I think you'll find that my own deeds have already been recognised by the Clan Tremere and the Sheriff in this matter. However, I think that there are many ways to fight a war, and if you want to brawl in the streets like a Sabbat, then by all means we need people to do that.
Selena would chuckle.
I'm
"Wait,
going
darling,
to make
you would never find me brawling in the streets, I assure you." And then she'd turn her attention back to the paper.
I pass my roll. Thankfully. A completely different look comes over the professor's face. He's actually got quite a gentle visage normally. But when that comment is made, you see a storm sort of brew his expression. He purposely doesn't turn to face Jasmine, but Selena and Lucy can see it because he's facing them. It looks like he kind of steels himself. That comment obviously sort of pissed him off. He stands up straight and runs his hand back through his hair in a more sort of fevered manner than before.
And at that moment, Lucy will kind of jump up as she recognizes again that the situation is about to escalate, just like the night before. So she's just gonna grab the drawing and hold it up, studying it some more. And she's like, "But, well, whatever they are, whether they be used for good or bad, in the end, isn't that's what they've always said, that it's not the design, it's what you use it for, right?" And I have to say, it looks absolutely marvelous. Like, you have to at least admit that it looks pretty, right? Very pretty. And if we need to fight, let it at least be kind of pretty. And yeah, you know, she smiles at Jasmine and the professor.
I think you are now discussing coterie business, so I will leave you to that. Thank you ever so much, Professor. Miss Whitaker, it's been an absolute delight.
Lady
Smith,
Whitaker,
I hope to
actually.
see you soon.
Lena corrects her quite loudly.
Very well, as you wish. I will leave you to your coterie deliberations, and I wish you all the best of fortune.
Good evening.
Bye, Jasmine.
Goodbye.
She smiles.
Selena's attention would be back on the paper, and she would.
The professor waits for Jasmine to leave, and then he looks at Lady Whitaker and says, "I do apologise, my lady."
Oh, no need, my darling, no need. Not all of the members of our clan can be expected to have manners, grace, or etiquette, it seems. Not your fault at all, darling. But these designs you brought to us, they are splendid. So you can make these things?
Oh, most definitely. I'm currently in the process of making them. He seems to calm down when he starts talking about his work. These, I'm making both lethal and non-lethal weapons as to suit. Some people prefer not to kill.
Well, when we're dealing with scum,
yes,
killing is always the preferred method, I would say. As much
I would quite agree.
It is, as our friend, and she says that word with obvious kind of commas around it. As she mentioned, it is a distasteful business, but one that must be done.
I do not relish my
I'm currently learning to shoot, and so a weapon of this sort, and she gestures to the drawing of the gun, would be most fitting.
I do not relish having my fellow clan members or colleagues or friends or honourable members of the city compared to the Sabbat. So, excuse me if I'm a little bit embittered by that this evening. However, I can certainly make an item such as this for you. I will design it carefully so that it will suit your particular style and be easily concealed.
It seems like you've kind of lost Lucy in all this, like savate and weapons and killing, and she's just staring blankly and has placed the drawing back on the table again and starts fiddling with her clothing again, and even with her own fingers, kind of toying with them. She has these big, almost deer-like eyes darting between Lady Whitaker and Professor Brennan.
Selena would turn to Lucy and say, "Are you any good with a gun or knives or anything of that sort, darling?"
Well, in at school I took some fencing lessons, and like my well, I've seen a rifle.
Well, that's marvelous, darling. Selena would smile warmly. So, I'm sure the professor could come up with something delightful for you to use also.
The professor sort of slowly sits down and looks at Lucy with sort of a I'm going to make a charisma performance. Fuck knows. I hope I don't botch it. Well, I don't botch it, but I don't succeed. He just sort of sits down and he fixes her with a particular look, which doesn't really pan out the way that he expected it to. He kind of looks at her with sort of softly, but he means to look at her sort of endearingly, but he doesn't really come off. Probably because he's still pissed off from earlier. And he just sort of says, you know, it will take time, but I think in this coterie, you've got opportunity to have practice with different people. Obviously, I'm not expecting you to become a hardened killer overnight.
Thank you, because I don't think I could be that, especially not overnight.
The best thing to do is watch and learn.
Mm-hmm. I understand that the city is at war, but it's like I can do this the lookout thing. What we did earlier, Jasmine and I have been doing lookouts previous, and I think I'm good at that, but I'm not used to all-out war.
Myself, I'm not much of a man for close combat. I'm not particularly gifted in that way, but there are other powers that you can harness that, as you say, can aid others, being a watchful eye and harnessing stealth and tactics can be helpful in any situation.
Then
Selena nods in agreement.
I guess I'd best find myself a library to learn up on some tactics, because, like I said, not really my field of expertise. I mean, I used to be a nurse. It's quite different.
Selena looks at her with kind of an understanding expression. Says, I myself am no fighter, darling, but desperate times, you know, we all must do what we can, but I'm sure we will all find our own niche and find a way in which we can make ourselves useful.
Be assured that as long as I can help it, I will not allow any harm to come to either of you.
How dashing of you, darling. Thank you.
Yeah,
He
thanks.
It's quite an interesting turn of events. So, yeah. I must confess to you, I was once earmarked for the Clan of the Rose myself.
And a wonderful addition to our clan you would have made.
But my heart was much differently set, and so the course of fate weaved its tale.
We all have a path laid out for us, and all we can do is make the best of it. But regardless of clan, we can all come together and work as one and defeat the ghastly Sabbat. Banish them from our city once and for all.
And then what? after we've done that, what's our goal?
It's quite a daunting prospect, I imagine, to someone so young, that there's an endless possibility of life ahead of you where many things may be achieved. And you're no longer limited by age or infirmity.
Yeah.
Once we are no longer at war, then we continue to work for the good of our prince and the Camarilla as a whole.
This city of New York is quite instrumental in the Camarilla's stronghold on the eastern side of United States. So it's important that we hold the city and hold power in it effectively. We all play our different roles. I'm sure you'll find yours in time.
It's just, there's a lot happening very fast.
He nods. No one comes to this life and it's kind of there's no shallow end to it. You come in at the deep end first and have to acclimatise very, very quickly. It's quite the struggle.
She nods. I do apologize in advance if I say anything wrong or bad. If I would say anything bad, I'm sure that would, like, I hope it won't be anything that anything mean, like what happened just now. Would you allow me to see if I can talk to Jasmine? See if I can. I really hate to fight. I mean, amongst ourselves.
Of course. If that is what you would like to do, then absolutely. And Selena kind of leans forward and puts a hand on Lucy's cheek and just kind of smiles at her and says, "You are adorable."
She lowers her case. Not really. Like I said, I just don't like. I don't like arguments.
Nor do I. A gentleman should never raise his voice. But I think that Miss Jasmine must be very careful about what she says, especially in this environment.
Indeed. It is a shame that things ended this evening as they did. Perhaps I should also attempt to speak with Jasmine and perhaps mend some bridges. We shall see.
He nods.
I think if we really are, at war and everything, and maybe that might be wise. I think that's wise. I mean, damn it. Sorry. She just giggles it off, kind of.
Selena just chuckles and looks at her affectionately. Yes, I shall contact her and see if she will meet with me and yes, you're completely right, darling. We shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves at a time like this. There are more than enough enemies out there.
Those Sabbath people, right? Yeah.
Precisely.
The city is so big.
Yes, it is a rather intimidating place, New York. But you shall get used to it. And once things have calmed down, I shall take you to all the best spots. You will find it delightful, I'm sure.
I would like that, yes. I was looking forward to come here to New York very much, and it's so much. It's so different than what I imagined. I mean, I've seen pictures, of course, and even on this YouTube, I've seen like little movies, like the motion pictures. But to see it for yourself, it's really intimidating, in a way, I guess. I mean, can you imagine that actual humans, like living, walking, talking humans, have built all this? It's amazing.
Selena would laugh. It certainly is, darling. It's a lot to take in, but it isn't always as troubling as it is at the moment. It's just a particularly distressing time right now, but hopefully not for too much longer. I have faith that things will settle down.
So do I.
Yeah, that would. I think.
I intend to be able to invite my sire here to view my progress, and can't very well do that if I'm dead or the city's in ashes. He smiles, sort of seeming to be sort of joking. But just sort of like
Why
my
then?
face, like,
She doesn't understand the joke.
dark. It's sort of a dark joke, I suppose. He doesn't really expect others to get it. He just sort of smiles to himself almost. Well, ladies, I won't encroach on you for much longer. I will leave you to your evening.
I guess I have to. Sorry.
No, go ahead, darling. What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying that I guess I have to try and find a job and a place to stay.
Well, you're welcome to stay with me as long as you need to, darling. That would be delightful. I enjoy your company.
That is like really too much. I it's not that I don't appreciate it. I do. I would love to, but I'm also thinking that maybe I should try to see if I can do things. I need to be productive, right?
It's none of my business, but I think that for the time being, if you're able, it may be safer for you to stick together. But that is your affair. I don't want to interject. I just wanted to.
You think they would be after me too? Then I mean, I've really done much.
Well, they're not very discriminate. These creatures. They'll just kill anything.
Right. Okay.
So it's best to stick together. They count on us being separated, and so look after each other, and as you are fledgling to Miss Whitaker, I'm sure she will do her due duty in protecting you and guiding you in what you need to do.
Yes, the offer is open, darling. Whatever you'd prefer. But just know that I would do whatever I could to keep you safe, and you would be most welcome.
Yeah, well, Professor, I think you do have a point, and it's just that I really don't want to take up more hospitality and everything. It feels so. I don't want to impose on you.
You're one of us. You are a member of this city and a member of this sect. And there is no imposition, Miss Smith. Again, I apologise for speaking for Miss Whitaker, but were I capable, I would extend the same offer.
Yes, of course.
Um,
Lucy, darling, we're family.
Okay. If it's really no problem, then sure. Even if it's just for like a couple of weeks until I can set up a place, something proper, something nice, you know.
Of course, darling. For as long as you need.
Thank you.
Arthur stands up and scoops up the paper and puts it in his pocket. If you will give me leave, ladies, I need to go and attend to a few more things this evening. Please feel free to stay here if you wish.
I think we should probably make a move also. And she'd kind of look around the room and not be too openly judgmental of the fact that it's not 5-star, but just, yeah, she's not in any great hurry to remain any longer than necessary.
Lucy, on the other hand, is also looking around. It is a very nice room, though. Thank you so much.
Well, anonymity is important, but I dare say we might raise a few eyebrows on the way out.
Well, let them talk,
Hi.
darling.
He smiles sort of slightly mischievously, but says no more. And then he will go to the door and hold it open for them.
Yeah, Selena would make her way out. And no doubt have a driver waiting outside the hotel.
Lucy will follow her, almost like a cute little dog, and she looks at the car.
As the professor gets onto the end of the street, you see him wave his hand, and then he disappears into a puff of smoke. Only joking. He doesn't. He's not an actual magician.
I was so confused there for a minute.
I wish that I could do that. I don't have that power yet. He doesn't do that. He just walks away. More boringly. And that'll be the moment we end the scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, whoever our viewer was, for viewing. And till next time.